Hey guys, Training Dummy here. In this video, I'll be leveling my first ever Primalist. And I'm looking to go some sort of a bear form build. I was swapping in between different bear builds and ended up with something completely different in the end, but it seemed interesting. I started leveling my bear dummy with just a random build I built as I went on playing. As it's my first time playing Primalist, I didn't know what to expect, so I wanted to test out and get familiar with passive trees and skill points. So I ended up playing different variations, and I will explain that in this video. And I gotta say, this was my least favorite class to play, personally. As someone who dislikes companion or minion builds in all games, it was just natural that I would gravitate towards a bear form instead of the Beastmaster or Shaman totem class. Just doing some standard leveling here, nothing too unusual. When reaching the mastery selection, I go with the druid, and I unlock the Werebear form, so that's exciting. Of course, at this point, I also jump into the Monoliths section for free XP boost, since it's my alt character, so I'll take that free XP, and boom, just like that, we're level 25 already. I'm gonna be doing this chest piece for low life ward build. I cooked up some random build with cold overtime damage of Maelstrom, so I figure this low life chest will go well with the staff for more ward and ward retention with ton of spell damage on top of it. Thanks to Swipe and Warcry, we're generating Maelstrom stacks and just killing stuff by standing next to them basically. Because Swipe deals no damage, it is mainly used just to generate Maelstorms and also as a rage generator. It was looking very promising at this point considering I don't even have my items yet. It seems like pretty decent damage so far. Rampage was also really nice to get around the map faster. The only thing is that Maelstrom area is very small, so I needed to be in their face literally constantly. After completing the tablet quest in chapter 5, I port to the Temporal Sanctum to kill the boss as usual, to skip all the way from chapter 5 to 9. Stuff is dying very fast, and the bear is very chunky as you can see. I quickly get to the last snake boss lady to grab the +1 all stats. Since I scale really well with strength and attunement, it's going to be a huge help here. Now with the campaign done, I am level 44 and I'm going to jump right into level 90, Age of Winter Monolith. So this is probably going to be pretty spicy since I'm under leveled and my gear is very subpar as I didn't really perfect my leveling gear. But to my surprise, I'm actually quite tanky and stuff is dying relatively fast. Considering how weak I am and missing so much gear and passive points, this was a really pleasant surprise. So I reached the first cemetery. As per usual, I'm gonna spam some false temples for some quick experience boost. Sadly, I only got 4, so I placed 4 here and 1 more cemetery because I need to go back and restock. Off to Haven of Silk we go. I got plenty embers and false temples like the cheapest woven echo, so I can just buy a few of these and back to mapping we go. So we got some decent levels now and my build is starting to come online. Here thanks to Entangling Roots, which is gonna cast thanks to Maul. So how we do damage here with this build is that Entangling Roots and Maelstrom, both of these abilities are boosted by my cold damage in this version, so it's easier to stack damage. Also, both of them do overtime damage. As you can see here, the big AoE from Entangling Roots covers the most of the screen, but I have built more for overtime damage, so the initial hit is not as strong. Back to spamming false temples we go to get those sweet levels. Rampage is really good in false temple map because it's a long, straight layout. Again, since it's my alt, I only need to clear 1 of these. As always, the first objective when I unlock the Empowered Monoliths is to hunt for some blessings, especially to help out defensively in the early game. With Ding 80, this is a big power spike for my Frosty Bear, as I can equip my Nihilist to finally get rid of my Bleeding Heart. I'm using this big spell power staff, that's where most of my damage comes from. Mapping speed feels really good now. I need a few more levels to equip all my gear and I will go over it shortly when I do that. Upon reaching level 84, the corruption level starts to get too easy, so I'm ready to ramp it up. Beat up a few shades here to jump to 1000 corruption, and of course I lower it down to a manageable nice 300. The clear speed for packs and rare mobs feels really good, as everything basically dies when I touch it. But the bosses are a struggle. For some reason the overtime damage doesn't really transition well to single target damage. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm probably not going to do Aberroth with this build. It's gonna take forever to kill him, so I don't want to make a misleading video. So this is what I ended up basically doing. A bunch of attunement stacking and elemental damage over time. Low life, ward build worked surprisingly well in terms of defense. There was plenty of ward generation and retention thanks to boots, chest and the belt. Two red rings also provide nice damage reduction with resistances and other stat boosts. The real key here was to be over 60 attunement to boost up Maelstrom damage even more. And even with all that, this build still felt underwhelming. So personally, I did not feel great about putting this video out and advertising this build. So I shoved the bear into the oven and let it cook for longer. And back to the drawing board we go. Fully respecing and undressing the character, I decided to go with the Stormbolt route and switch up my damage to lightning base and focus on that. So starting from scratch, the idea of the next build is going to be running around with Rampage and spawning a lot of lightning stuff to basically kill off everything by doing nothing. So time to hop on my Void Knight and help this little Thunder Bear out with some item crafting. With some lucky Rune of Redemption switcheroos, I got myself another sweet T7 Maelstrom chest. Sadly, I'm missing 1 LP Eye of Storm, so gotta go and slay some Lagons. This is the most annoying boss because even if you one-shot him, he will still send you downstairs for the dreadful phase 2. Fun fact time. There's an indicator to know how long this phase will last. If you look at the middle, there is this circle, and once it goes to full, you know you will be teleported back upstairs. Well, few boss fights later, I got my neck. So there's one more item I'm actually missing, and I have 0 up in my stash. And those are these boots. And no wonder I have none of them, because they drop specifically from Champions Colosseum Woven Echo, which I have never really farmed. Pop in a couple of those, and luckily it just takes a couple of seconds to complete it, since it's just a few mini bosses here. So why I'm eyeing these boots is for this cool effect that grants bonus damage for the next movement skill every 3 seconds. And I figured, since I'm gonna be running around with Rampage and doing nothing, just shooting Stormbolts, I might as well go for it. Finally, time to smack all the items. I crafted this cool headpiece which gives a ton of nice damage bonuses. More lightning damage on Eye of Storms. I guess all there's left to do is take this bear out for a test drive. Okay, so it seems to be working thanks to the nodes in Werebear form, 3 that affects Rampage. All I'm doing is just running around and everything is dying. But I'm lacking some single target damage here. Really, that seems to be the trend for my bear builds, and I'm not a big fan of that. I actually dislike this build even more. The Rampage might be a great skill to travel around the map, but it is not great for circling around units that didn't get one-shot from your storm abilities. It's actually quite clunky for that. At this point I'm disappointed and I respec once again. Time wasted on crafting another build and items, and it's just not good enough to recommend. Shoving the bear back into the oven once again, and back to the workshop we go. I'm giving the bear one more chance, and this time I'm gonna try to build a simple bear build to just basic attack down enemies with swipe. So we respec back to 0 again, passive and skill points. I noticed this druid's call node on Tempest Strike, so I will be able to proc it when I'm swiping in bear form. So it should be a nice double dip with swipe and Tempest Strike. This feels to me like it should work really well. After theory crafting the build, time to strip down naked and get some items again. So just to make things faster again, thanks to the Void Knight, I crafted all the items faster. So let's see how the swipe bear feels like. Actually looking promising, but the single target damage still stuck. And I can tell it's not gonna be there even if I perfect the gear. I just know it's not gonna scale well, and I feel totally lost, and I just wanna give up. I would just love to dump this character, but since I'm a content creator now, I just have to get back on the horse and rebuild one final time. Instead of shoving the bear back into the oven, I just straight up bury it underground. I absolutely hated the playstyle and the skill trees. Nothing just worked the way I wanted it to. After looking at other bear builds out there, I gotta be honest, they all just suck. Werebear form just doesn't scale damage very well. Unless you do some shape-shifting stuff where you constantly have to switch from human to bear form to take advantage of this strong passive 3-point, but that playstyle just looks awful. I would rather just not play this damn class. After all that, this is my worst last Epoch experience personally. So I just decided to throw the druid in the trash. I don't like playing minions or companions, and shaman seems to play around totems. That sounds like a nightmare to me. So I crossed that out instantly. But on the other hand, the Beastmaster, which literally in its name says it's all about companions and beasts, is my only choice left. So I decided to go for Beastmaster and play without any minions and see how it will work out. So this is going to be it. Time to go for dual wielding Beastmaster with no beasts. And boy, let me tell you, this build is actually cooking. I don't have the idols that I'm looking for yet, but they are really powerful once I get them. So how this build basically operates here is you attack brutally fast, with ton of melee attack speed, using Tempest Strike as your main basic damage ability. Thanks to some skill point allocation, it costs no mana, so we can spam it. I'm also going for straight up physical damage scaling. All the damage in this build comes from two abilities, Tempest Strike and Earthquake, plus the aftershocks that Earthquake provides. Frenzy Totem and Warcry provides very much needed buffs, and Fury Leap is an incredible movement ability. It's been one of my favorite movement skills in the game so far I've played with. It allows you to jump huge distances, jump over walls, gaps. It's really amazing. And also with this skill point, you can refresh its cooldown on kills, so that makes mapping super fast. Tempest Strike is basically all you need to spam to get around in a map. For stronger and tankier mobs, you smack down a Frenzy Totem and spam some Earthquakes and they die super fast. Finally, a build is starting to come together. It's blasting everything at 300 corruption and I am only level 86 so far. What I really need to get are the idols that I'm gonna show you now. These are not rare at all, but what they do is they give my melee attacks a chance to spawn aftershocks, which are provided thanks to the Earthquake. And they do a lot of damage in my setup. And with the help of just 3 good rolled idols, you can get the chance all the way up to 100%. And that boosts this build's damage output significantly. I know I'm using Immortal Wives and Shadow Rolls in this video at the moment, but my other gear is very subpar. So I just needed to see if the build itself will work out, and it works really great. In fact, it's working so great, I think I might be able to perfect it and release a whole video about it. I think I can get to scale this all the way up to 700 or even 1000 corruption. So this might be a legit build. I'm still missing crucial levels and a lot of strength missing from the random red rings I have and other gear. The Shadow Worlds even has spell critical strike chance, so there's a lot of room for improvement. As my weapons also have not rolled that well, I will try to farm up better ones in the upcoming days and try to push this build to its limits. But as you can see in the footage, mapping speed is incredible, as you can jump from pack to pack and even over walls super fast. So one last thing left to do is to kill Aberroth. The burst windows for this build are absolutely insane. I have a feeling with proper gear this build will go crazy. The only thing to watch out really for is to place the Frenzy Totem so the boss doesn't kill it. But this unfinished build is killing Aberroth even faster than my Heartseeker in my last video. So in conclusion, are you guys interested in this build? Should I perfect it on the next few days and release a full video on it if it works out in the end game? Because I think I can bring it all the way up to 1000 corruption, I think. I will have my current build planner linked in the comment below, but I think if I work on it for a couple of days, I can release a new planner with more updated gear and more in-depth guide if you want to. And that's about it for the Primalist. Personally, I dislike Primalist so much. I feel like it's outdated and weird. I was not a big fan until I found this Beastmaster build, which of course I still need to work on, but I think it's pretty great. What are your thoughts on Primalist? Do you guys really enjoy this class? Are the minion builds pretty good? As a non-minion enjoyer, I don't really know. Let me know what's your favorite Primalist build to play around with. Thanks for watching. Training Dummy out.